Welcome to Rome in 2nd century AD. Today, let's take a closer look at living in Roman Insulae. Imagine living in a city of 1 million people where the buildings are taller than the streets are wide, and your only protection from a midnight inferno is a bucket of water and a prayer to the gods. Most people think of ancient Rome as a city of white marble and quiet dignity, but for 90% of its residents, home was an insula, the world's first skyscraper, a vertical slum. Today, we are using modern AI to reconstruct a single, pulse-pounding day inside one of these ancient high-rises. We aren't visiting the emperor on the Palatine Hill. We're heading to the Subura, the most dangerous neighborhood in Rome. You're going to experience the smell of the street-side bakeries at dawn, the social politics of the public toilets, and the terrifying silence of a city that never actually slept. Modern apartment living hasn't changed much. It's 6 a.m. You wake up on the 6th floor. There's no alarm clock, but you don't need one. The city has been screaming at you for hours. The night was a relentless symphony of iron-rimmed wheels grinding against basalt paving stones. Just as the noise of the deliveries fades, the dawn chorus begins, the sound of a hammer hitting an anvil in the shop below, and the rhythmic chant of a schoolteacher down the street. Look around your room, your cenaculum. It's barely 10 feet wide. The walls are thin, timber and rubble fill, covered in peeling plaster. There's no window glass, just heavy wooden shutters to keep out the humidity and the mosquitoes. You roll off a simple straw pallet. You don't get dressed in the modern sense because you never really undressed. You're wearing your tunic, a simple wool garment that probably hasn't been washed in a month. First task of the day, the walk. You grab your lasagna, your ceramic chamber pot. There's no plumbing up here. If you're feeling lazy, you might do what the poets complain about and just let it fly out the window into the gutter below. But there's a heavy fine for that if you hit a passerby, so you choose to head down. The stairs are a nightmare. They're steep, uneven, and pitch black. As you descend, the air changes. At the top, it was hot and dry. By the 3rd floor, it's damp. By the time you reach the ground floor, you smell it, the tabernae. Step out onto the street, and you're instantly hit by the sensory overload of Rome. This is the base of your insula, and it's the economic heart of the block. The ground floor isn't for living, it's for business. To your left is the Thermopolium, the Roman equivalent of a 7-Eleven. Since you aren't allowed to have a kitchen in your upper floor apartment, too much risk of burning the whole building down, this is where you eat. You see a stone counter with deep jars or dolia built right into it. 1 bowl of poles, you say, handing over a tiny bronze coin. The cook scoops out a thick porridge of emmer wheat, topped with a drizzle of garum. The fermented fish sauce Romans put on literally everything. It smells like salty, rotting mackerel, but it's the taste of the empire. You stand at the counter with a group of weavers and day laborers, drinking watered-down wine from a communal cup. Suddenly, the crowd parts. A man in a pristine white toga, the dominus or his agent, walks by. Behind him is his clientele. This is the salutatio. Every morning, poor residents follow their wealthy patrons through the city in exchange for a few coins or a meal. It's a hierarchy you can see in the building itself. The wealthy live on the 1st floor in spacious apartments with painted frescoes. They have the prestige of not having to climb stairs. You're just a face in the crowd, heading off to your job in a nearby wool processing shop. By noon, the Roman sun is brutal. The heat is trapped between the towering insulae, creating a literal oven. You're thirsty, but your apartment doesn't have a faucet. You head to the nearest lacus, a public fountain fed by the great aqueducts like the Aqua Claudia. This isn't just a place to get water, it's the social hub. You'll see women scrubbing laundry on the stone edges and kids playing with marbles made of knuckle bones. You feel a heavy terracotta jug. This is your gym for the day, carrying 5 gallons of water up 6 flights of stairs. It's why Romans were famously fit. Every sip of water required a workout. While you're there, you spot a man sitting on a bench with a stylus, a sharp metal pen, and a wooden tablet filled with black wax. He's writing a letter for a woman who can't read. This was a city of high literacy, but also high bureaucracy. Everything in your insula is recorded. Your rent, your name, even the number of people in your room is tracked by the city's census. But there's a biological reality we need to address. Where do you go? If you think modern bathrooms are private, Rome would be your worst nightmare. You head to the public latrines. There are no stalls, no dividers. You sit down on a long marble bench right next to a total stranger. You might even strike up a conversation about the upcoming chariot races at the Circus Maximus while you do your business. And then there's the sponge. This is the tersorium. There's no toilet paper. Everyone in this room shares that same sponge on a stick. You rinse it in a channel of running water at your feet, use it, and put it back in the bucket of vinegar for the next person. It's a moment of peak Roman communalism that makes modern people shudder. But to you, it's just Tuesday. After the latrines, you head to the baths. Even for a poor resident of an insula, the baths are a daily rite. For a single copper coin, you enter a palace of marble. You move from the tepidarium, warm room, to the caldarium, hot room. You don't use soap, it doesn't exist yet. Instead, you slather yourself in olive oil, and a slave or a friend scrapes the grime off your skin with a curved metal tool called a strigil. You leave feeling like a king, despite knowing you're heading back to a room that's probably infested with bedbugs. As the sun sets, the great games at the Colosseum might be wrapping up. You could hear the roar of 50,000 people from miles away, but now a different kind of tension settles over the insula. You climb back up to the 6th floor. You're hungry again, but you can't turn on a light. You light a small ceramic oil lamp, a lucerna. The flame is tiny, flickering, and produces a thick black smoke that stains the ceiling. It's getting chilly, so you kindle a few coals in a brazier, a portable metal heater. This is the most dangerous moment of your day. Every single person in this 7-story building is currently lighting a flame. The floors are made of wood. The walls are filled with dry straw. The roof is thatched or tiled over timber. In Rome, fire isn't an if, it's a when. You've seen 3 buildings on this street burn down in the last year. If a fire starts on the 1st floor, you're dead. There are no fire escapes. The stairs will turn into a chimney of flame. You look down and see the vigils, Rome's fire brigade and police force. They carry buckets made of stitched rope coated in pitch and centones. Heavy blankets soaked in vinegar used to smother flames. They are the only thing standing between you and a citywide apocalypse. The city at night is a place of absolute darkness and terrifying noise. There are no streetlights. If you have to go out, you carry a torch and hope you don't run into a gang of grass eaters. Street thugs who target anyone looking vulnerable. But you stay inside. You sit by your window and look out. To the west, you can see the Palatine Hill, glowing with the torches of the Emperor's palace. It looks like another planet. Down below, the noise of the carts has started again. The iron wheels scream against the stone. Splash! Someone on the floor above just emptied their chamber pot into the street. It's a nightly ritual. The poet Juvenal once said that walking through Rome at night without making your will was an act of extreme negligence. You might get hit by a falling pot, a falling tile, or a falling building. Because these insulae were built so quickly and so cheaply by greedy landlords, they collapse constantly. You sometimes feel the building sway in the wind. You just lie back on your straw pallet, pull your wool cloak tight, and listen to the city breathe. You are one of a million. You are the heartbeat of the empire. Without you, the temples wouldn't be built, the grain wouldn't be milled, and the legions wouldn't be fed. 2,000 years have passed, but look at your own life. Do you live in a multi-story building? Do you pay rent to a landlord? Do you buy fast food because you're too tired to cook? Do you deal with noisy neighbors and cramped spaces? The Roman Insula was the blueprint for the modern world. It was a place of extreme suffering, but also extreme innovation. It was where the first fire brigades were born, where the first mass transit systems for water were perfected, and where humanity first learned how to live on top of one another without tearing the world apart. Augustus said he found Rome a city of brick and left it marble. But for the people in the insulae, it stayed brick forever. And yet, that brick has outlasted almost every empire since. Thank you for spending 24 hours in the Subura with me. What other ancient lives should we reconstruct? Should we visit a legionary on the Rhine or a merchant in Roman London? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Anna, and this is History Brought to Life. Subscribe for more history reconstructions with AI.